So we just left off with me arriving in the waiting room. I'm back and I'm ready to talk about more. And also thank you to everyone who's being positive about this story, because I'm also sharing it on other platforms, including Facebook. And Facebook, they are ripping me apart and telling me it's my fault that this happened, so that's fine. Nobody's going to have more guilt and shame about this than I do, so you can't say anything to hurt me that I haven't already thought myself about what I went through. I'm very well aware that I should have gone to the hospital sooner, in hindsight. But if you're not in my position and you weren't in my situation, you don't understand what I was thinking. Moving on. When I got into the emergency room, I was parked closest to the doors of where you would walk in. To my other side, security offices, all the hallways that you would go down if you were being admitted. Also, the bathrooms are down there, and that's going to be important. Like I have said, I have been to this hospital before many times for family members. I also know how emergency rooms work. I know that people are seeking pain pills and all. I know how, I'm not dumb. I know how it works. I went there for help. I was in so much pain and I didn't understand what was happening, and I was dying. I didn't know that I was dying. And if any of the naysayers want to come for me for that, you can talk to the gynecologist and all the doctors that I was speaking to who told me you have no idea how close you were to death when you came in. The infection, I'm going to put the word below because I don't know how to pronounce it, chorioamniotitis. Basically, it was an infection with my amniotic fluid and my liver, and it was because of the pregnancy. So I was emitting this kind of very foul smell whenever I was soiling myself, which was happening frequently because I was left alone in the emergency room for so many hours. Someone came very soon after I was put in there to take my vitals and hook me up to like an EKG machine and check my heart. I was in sinus tachycardia, and I know that people can get that just from being my size and walking around a room, but this was extreme. Where this story starts to get uncomfortable for me is because of the fact that I know that in normal circumstances, you don't give someone who comes into the ER water and that there's going to be a wait. But I was not a normal situation. I was having contractions that were maybe 2-3 minutes apart at one point before it got worse and worse. And I would be gripping onto the wheelchair that they put me in, and I would just be bearing down and screaming. And as I'm doing that, of course, I'm soiling myself. And at one point, I remember I looked up to the other side of the room, and every other patient in the ER was on the other side of the room. Nobody could take the screaming or the smell, to be honest, that was coming from me. And I would ask for water probably every chance I got if someone came near me. There was one hospital person behind a desk that would come into the lobby, and I would ask, please, 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 can I please have some water, ice chips, something? No. Meanwhile, and not to her fault, I have not had anything to drink for 24 to 36 hours. My lips were like chapping and curling inwards because I was so dehydrated and leaking so much fluid. I think it was somewhere around 2-3 o'clock in the morning. I could not take it anymore with how thirsty I was. So in my wheelchair, I was wheeling myself down the hallway towards the vending machines. I did have my wallet with me. My fiance made sure to give me my wallet and my phone before I left. But of course the vending machines weren't working. Card, cash, nothing, just weren't working. I had 3 vending machines, none of them were working. I'm looking around to see if anyone could possibly help, nothing. 2 ladies that were nearby had water, and I said, I'm so sorry to bother you, but how did you get that water? These don't work. And they said, it's not our water. It was here before we got here. So of course, no answers. That's when I noticed right across from me was a bathroom. So I wheeled myself into the bathroom, shut the door, turned the sink on, and drank ER sink water because I was so desperate for something. And when I got back to the waiting room, I think that whole ordeal took me about an hour and a half just to move down a hallway and back and to sip some water out of a sink. And even though I'm going through all of this, I still wish that I didn't meet the first person that I met when someone finally did see me a few hours later. The way that this woman treated me while I'm screaming in pain, I just really hope she never goes through anything like that herself. It was about the same until about 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning when someone finally pulled me into a bed.